Hi folks, welcome back here with another Tune In Tuesday episode. So today we're going to dive straight into the astrology forecast coming up from November 4th all the way until November 18th, and then we will jump into a quick life update and tie that into a collective oracle message for those who are in alignment with Back to Divinity. So first things first, on November 4th, we have Mars entering Sagittarius. So we're hitting the ground running with a Mars transit. Mars is very much connected to that of our Aries Scorpio energy. So our ambition, our drive, our passion, our action-oriented energy, our sense of identity at the surface and also in the deep inner core, which drives this action-oriented energy, which drives this ambition, which drives a more, aggressive or easily frustrated response to certain things that are happening around you, or having more of a drive for physical activity, physical expression, and things of that sort with Mars energy. So that being said, as Mars is entering Sagittarius, we are going to be seeing some of that Mars energy being highlighted in regards to some of our Sagittarius themes. So those themes can be higher knowledge, thinking about wisdom, thinking about our faiths, our belief systems, things that we feel strongly opinionated about, things that we feel guided to share with others, teach others, express to others, any mentors, coaches, teachers that we have or guides that we look towards or are learning from. So that being said, as Mars is entering Sagittarius, we could see ourselves feeling very passionate about any beliefs, opinion, or faiths, anything that we feel strongly opinionated about, even politically. It's funny because actually November 4th, at least here in Jersey, we're voting. So that being said, there could be this energy around having to think a little bit more deeply about the things that you feel aligned with at your core, your morals, your ethics, and things of that sort with Mars entering Sagittarius. Finding yourself feeling very strongly opinionated or passionate, rather, a little bit more aggressive about some of the things that you feel in alignment with or that you strongly believe. So any of those things can be highlighted with Mars and Sagittarius. So be wary of feeling like you have to defend your beliefs or defend any of your opinions or faiths or belief systems, anything of that sort. Also be very wary of any religious, spiritual leaders around you that could be heightening up extremity, motion, response, whatever it is to what could be happening on a larger scale, a collective scale. With Sagittarius being Jupiter energy, there can be this drive to expand. So whether that's literally wanting to travel, wanting to explore other cultures, wanting to absorb more information in regards to higher knowledge. So receiving that information through experience, through conversations with teachers, guides, mentors, coaches, and things of that sort. Yes, and Mercury entered Sagittarius not so long ago, so that's also very much in connection to why we feel this desire to want to express those opinions, beliefs, and things of that sort. So again, just be wary of erring on the side of too aggressive or passionate to the point where it becomes, easily frustrated or anything of that sort. Just extreme emotion. Beware of that extreme emotion coming up whenever any of those things are triggered. Also, there could be this energy with Mars, again, very action-oriented, planning, Aries, Scorpio being very direct about things, especially with Scorpio having this hidden energy. There could be things that come up to the surface that make you step a little bit more into expressing yourself more authentically and more in alignment with what feels right for you, and therefore being very clear about any direction in which you're taking and expressing that, and any steps that you're taking very much in alignment with your morals, your ethics, and your beliefs and things of that sort. So aligning those things into place. So if there's something that you've been doing that doesn't feel in alignment with who you are at your core, there could be this, momentum sort of that's built with Mars and Sagittarius to move into a space that's a little bit more in alignment. With Sagittarius being Jupiter energy, that expansion, that abundance, you want to make sure that you're in alignment in order for that expansion to come in. So Mars and Sagittarius could be urging you to take action to align what it is you're doing on a day-to-day with your morals, ethics, beliefs, and things of that sort. Then, literally the next 24 hours later, on November 5th, we have our full moon in Taurus at 13 degrees. So with this full moon, there could be this energy again with any full moon around completion, culmination, climax point, reaching some sort of closure, letting go energy, or reaching some sort of power moment that urges you to face these extreme emotions. That way you can feel them, process them, transmute them, and therefore be ready to plant those new seeds come the new moon cycle, allowing you to engage in a cyclical nature of closing things out and making space for the new. So that being said, with this happening in Taurus energy, Taurus is very much connected to Venus themes, so beauty, finances, money, business partnerships, luxury, sensuality, even just sensual relationship with food, anything that makes you feel luxurious, plentiful, and bountiful. So with this full moon in Taurus, there could be this energy around closing out anything in regards to those themes. So closing out anything that makes you feel lack per se, closing out any limiting beliefs in regards to finances or any habits that haven't been working out for you in regards to finances, closing out any business partnerships. So whether that's literally letting go of a job, letting go of anything in which there was a collaboration that affected the money that was coming into your life. Maybe changing income, things of that sort can be altering at this time, whether planned or whether unexpected, because it is a full moon energy and that has this extremity in and of itself, especially with Mars entering Sagittarius, Mercury having had enter Sagittarius, Uranus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, which we'll get more into. There is this energy around revisiting, altering, changing, unexpectedly, things of that sort that could be up in the air. Everything pushing you towards more in alignment with your path. However, these things can be sort of happening in very abrupt ways. So again, with this happening at 13 degrees is the Aries degree, more Mars energy, so very action-oriented, passionate, action-driven, taking those steps. So making waves, basically. So that being said, with this full moon in Taurus, you can be urged to finally make a decision, to finally take a step, to finally feel very clear about a direction in which you can go towards. Ultimately, sparking some sort of change within your world of partnerships, finances, spending habits, eating habits, things of that sort that can be brought to light with this full moon in Taurus, urging you to close out some sort of cycle that ultimately it's just not in alignment with bringing in that luxurious, bountiful life that you are craving. Let's see what else. Oh, on November 6th, literally the next day after that, so 4, 5, 6, Venus enters Scorpio. So again, we're already in Scorpio season, so themes of death and rebirth, transformation energy is already sort of bubbling in the air. So any of these Scorpio themes can be happening in the sector of your finances, love, romance, partnerships, whether business or romantic, your beauty, your sense of self-expression through dress, style, whatever it is, your inner core, things that are very deep to you, your relationship to intimacy, your relationship to sexuality and things of that sort, and any taboo things, mysticism, anything of that sort can be brought to light with Venus and Scorpio. So you could find yourself literally engaging in more intercourse, intimate experiences, sharing those intimate experiences, further deepening a connection with you and another. Additionally, there could be also this energy around getting some sort of death and rebirth moment in regards to how you are styling yourself, expressing yourself, having a death and rebirth moment in regards to your romantic partnerships, whether that's very pivotal conversations, pivotal experiences or moments that are shared that end up altering the chemistry there. There could also be this energy around finances. So Scorpio does rule debt and shared resources, in addition to money that can be related to the government or another person, like a third party, or inheritances, money related to family. So money in connection to others is very much highlighted with this Venus and Scorpio theme during Scorpio season. So you could either be getting money that has been owed to you for a while, or you could find yourself paying off any debts, reaching some culmination points in that section of your life, or again, just like finding yourself receiving any money that you've been waiting for, or finding yourself giving back any money that you found yourself needing to pay back. So any of those financial themes could also be highlighted with Venus and Scorpio, seeing some sort of forward progression, movement, change, transformation energy in that sector. So that is pretty much it with Venus and Scorpio. Themes to look out for. With Venus and Scorpio, you could generally just find yourself having like deeper connections and deeper conversations with those around you, whether romantically or just relationship-wise, and that shape a lot of how you perceive things and view things. Significant relationships, all those can be sort of undergoing some sort of deepening at this time. Then on November 8th, we do have Uranus leaving Gemini. It has been retrograde for some time, and Uranus is now dabbling back into Taurus energy and will be there for a little while. So that being said, things to look out for. You could find yourself revisiting, as we're going in a retrograde energy, which is always a revisiting energy, but revisiting themes from the last time that Uranus was in Taurus energy, which I believe was at the beginning of the year. No, that Uranus and Taurus themes could have been anything related to Taurus energy and finances, business partnerships, again, your beauty, how you are expressing yourself, your relationship to sensuality, luxury, pleasure, and things of that sort. So Uranus leaving Gemini, going back into Taurus, there could be any sort of revisiting business partnerships, revisiting business ideas, revisiting business collaborations, and things of that sort, either reaching some sort of culmination moment or going back for further expansion in those areas. Anything of that sort could be being brought up to the surface at this time. Additionally, there could be some unexpected shifts with Uranus energy. There could be some unexpected shifts in regards to money and finances. So again, very in alignment with this full moon in Taurus is happening right at the same time as Uranus is dabbling back into Taurus, which is very supportive of those unexpected shifts in those Taurus areas. So again, business partnerships, your relationship to income, finances, money, spending habits, many of those things can sort of be altered with Uranus dabbling back into Taurus. On a grander scale, there could be sort of technological advancements that we're seeing in the early childhood primary education sector. There could be exploring different facets of the self that were happening with Uranus and Gemini, that as we are stepping back out from Gemini into Taurus, there could be this energy around whether the facets of ourselves that we were stepping into are in connection to our money, our finances, our spending habits, our sense of pleasure, joy, and luxury that we're feeling in this world. So with Gemini being all sides of things, everyone calls it the two-sided folks, but all sides, the multifaceted energy. So with that being said, Uranus being in Gemini dabbling back in, there could be this energy of connecting our Gemini beings with our Taurus themes. So thinking a little bit more closely about whether our finances, business partnerships, business negotiations, business deals, contracts, income that we're bringing in, shared resources, any of those themes, if any of that is in connection with our most authentic parts of ourselves, or whether they're not, and whether we need to be breaking free from any contracts, negotiations, partnerships that are just, again, not in alignment with the parts of ourselves that we want to bring to the surface. So those things can be highlighted as Uranus dabbles back into Taurus until we get back into Gemini later on. So things to look out for there. On November 9th, we do have Mercury retrograde. So right now we are in Mercury retrograde pre-shadow. So you could have already started to see some sort of delays in communications, technologies, travel plans, and things of that sort could have already been highlighted. So things to look out for with Mercury going retrograde. It is happening in the Sagittarius energy at the 6th degree in a retrograde. So right at the Virgo degree. So that being said, there could be some sort of revisiting something in regards to our day-to-day. And again, whether our day-to-day is reflective of our morals, faiths, beliefs, ethics, and things of that sort. So there could be this slowing down energy so that you can revisit, rethink, replan, and rewrite your story moving forward. You could also be rethinking and revisiting your morals and whether you've been in alignment or thinking about things in a certain way that is just not of your highest good or of your highest version. So there can be some sort of change in your beliefs, in your spirituality, in your relationship to religion, in your relationship to any mentors or teachers that maybe were clouding your judgment, or that rather have opened up your mind to a different form of thinking about things. So any of those things can be highlighted with Mercury retrograde happening in Sagittarius. Within the realm of higher education, there could be some sort of miscommunications or anything of that sort that call up for things to be rediscussed. Anything of those lines can be brought up with Mercury retrograde. Again, any delay that happens is divinely orchestrated, causing for you to rethink something so that you can either avoid the direction in which it was going, see it go in a different way, or rather so that you can halt whatever it is that you're working on and open up the door to something new. So any of those themes can be highlighted. It'll be different for each individual person. So again, if you want to know more about what this transit is doing for you or any of these that I've mentioned so far, definitely book a reading. The link is always in bio. Mercury will leave Sagittarius energy on November 19th. We'll dabble back into Scorpio energy before it goes direct on November 29th. I will talk a little bit more about what Mercury retrograde in Scorpio will look like come the next Tune In Tuesday series, but just to look out there that Mercury retrograde won't just be happening in Sagittarius energy. We'll also see it go back into Scorpio energy, which I'm sure will bring up a whole other bag of, transformation, changes, and abrupt shifts that are happening ultimately to help you further step into alignment with your sense of self, your truest sense of self. On November 11th, we do have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer happening at 25 degrees until March 2026, and then it will go back direct in Cancer energy. So that being said, March 2026 is right at the beginning of the astrological new year. It's the perfect time to get into that expansion, growth, spring energy, blossoming things and seeing the new beginning, the fertile energy come back to life. So that being said, this is the perfect time period for Jupiter to be retrograde. It means delay in expansion and things of that sort so that you can lay your foundations. Cancer for energy, your foundations. You want to make sure that you are planting all of your seeds, laying those foundations in regards to anything home, family-wise, anything in regards to your home, whether physically or your emotional sense of home, safety, emotional security, and things of that sort. So throughout this time period from now all the way up until March 2026, you can find that any of the areas in regards to your household, your family, your, relationship to mother, your relationship to caregiving for others, your emotional landscape, your emotional security, safety, and things of that sort can all sort of be slowing down for you to, again, get into this building block energy. So laying the building blocks, laying the foundations, taking out the blocks that just don't fit anymore and replacing it with sturdier blocks, things of that sort. So literally and physically, like building yourself a home. And that being said, there can be this energy again, like it could literally mean that you are building a home and it's going to take all the way until March 2026 for it to be done. Or it could literally mean that you are working on a home project that will take until March 2026 around there for you to start to see forward movement in. Or it could literally mean expansion of the family. So preparing to bring in new family members into your household come 2026, or literally anything, again, in regards to expansion, in regards to home, family, household themes, movement, moving, anything along those lines. But those things can be highlighted. Healing on an emotional level, finding yourself feeling more emotionally safe and secure come start of the new astrological year in 2026 due to all of the internal work that you did prior leading up to that moment. So again, this energy isn't about delays to the point where you feel blocked, but more about planning for expansion, planning for abundance, planning for prosperity, especially as 2026 again is our 1 year. So going from the 9 year of release all the way to the 1 year of new beginning energy. So in order for that to happen, in order for that jump to happen, there has to be that shedding process that occurs and that building blocks process that occurs to be able to hit the ground running in 2026. So those are some themes to look out for. And that is very much the big, astrological forecast coming up from now up until November 18th. So that being said, we are now going to dabble into a quick life update and an oracle message. So life update, it's been wild. A lot of like extremity in the air, which makes sense. Scorpio is very extreme energy. So one day is like amazing and another day is like tormenting. So there's definitely that extremity energy in the air. So you find yourself in a similar boat. You're not alone in that. Things are just in that energy for a reason, bringing up emotion for a reason to sort of get you to break the ice. It's like cracking under pressure. It's like you need the pressure in order to crack, in order to make changes that you need to make. So there can be this bubbling up pressure energy, pressure cooker energy that's happening at this time. So if you're finding yourself feeling like that, again, you're not alone. Write it out. It's happening for a reason. So the collective message, I'll just jump into that because it will help connect back to a life update. So I did use the Healing Waters Oracle deck as we are in a Scorpio season, a water season. Further with Scorpio energy, there is this depth in our core type of energy in regards to water. So almost like a drowning all the way in the deep, deep bottom of the sea is like that Scorpio energy. And so that being said, there's a lot of, hidden knowledge there that you can only find through the third eye, through intuition, through water codes, through connecting a little bit further with the element of water, which is again our emotion and our dreams and our intuition. So that being said, when I pulled for the collective energy, I got the sweet waters, I got the rainbow, and I got the planetary wave. So both the sweet waters and the rainbow are almost exactly the same energy. It's the energy of new beginnings. It's the energy of a little bit more romance, a little bit more sensuality, pleasures, joy, experiencing a little bit more of luxurious energy. Energy of newness, bringing relief, sweet time, bringing a sense of releasing things. So that is the energy of what came up for the next 2 weeks. And then the planetary wave card is just reflective of the fact that this is, again, for the collective. It's a wave that's coming in for Earth that's making it feel, again, as if we are expanding or rising our consciousness, which is uplifting the vibration. So if you're feeling called to do something specifically, to leave something, to start something new, it is because you are feeling the energy of the Earth sort of rise, and it's making it so that we need to lighten the load in order to rise with it and align further with the new energies of the Earth. So further bringing in higher frequencies and higher vibrations. So that being said, listen to the inner calling, listen to the pull in certain directions, find yourself exploring those directions, because it can again bring further insight into your next step in your path and in your journey. It's interesting because I'm not feeling any of that energy, truthfully. So if you're hearing this and you're like, I don't feel that newness, I don't feel that new beginning energy, I don't feel that relief, I'm here with you. And I think there's probably a reason why that card is coming up for what to expect moving forward, because it's like in the face of the fact that everything in 3D right now might look like it's crumbling. It's because it's helping you clear the slate to be able to build those blocks, to build those foundations for the new life that you're calling in and this newness that you're bringing in. So keep up the hope, keep up the faith. And I think I'm speaking to myself as I'm telling you that as well. So we're in this together. I hope that all of us get the clarity to be able to take those steps and see those steps land somewhere and build something that is reflective of our truest callings, our truest desires, longings, and things of that sort. So good luck to the rest of you in this next 2-week period, and feel free to book a reading if you want some personalized guidance on what to expect moving forward. Again, I offer this new monthly service in which you can get an idea of what this month is bringing in for you. So as you're hitting November, if you want a November reading, definitely book the service and I will get back to you within a week. Thank you again and have a good one. Bye guys.